All right, great. Thank you, Kathy. All right, so the purpose. Why are we here? Well, first thing is we need to open in prayer. So let's do that. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for bringing us all together once again. We pray that you would bless our time together, give us wisdom, give us understanding to understand your will and what is for St. John's West Bend. And we pray this all today in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So let us get into it. So the purpose of this, what's being called the Ministry Readiness Tours and Survey, and the purpose to make sure that we are ready as a congregation to go into what would be the next phase of the what we called at one time we called the capital campaign. They've redonned it a little bit differently. So the purpose here is to share the current challenges and opportunities throughout our campus at 6th Avenue and out at Faith Haven. Get feedback on what we've shared with you by means of a survey. At the end, we'll have a link for you to fill out and give us your feedback on what you heard today. And then what we'll do then is also out of that whole thing is, now I have to say that we were working with LCEF to as our financial partner in this as we walk along and get into the capital campaign, now known as the Ministry Expansion Project. And really it's an understanding of where are we in that process. Are we something you'll find in the survey is it will ask for priorities. What do you see that the priorities are for both the church and school, 6th Avenue properties, and then also in Faith Haven? And so that's the big part of this, is really to understand that where are we in this process of ministry expansion? So with that, today you're going to see tours of the school. We'll see a bit of the 6th Avenue properties. We'll see a bit of the church exterior and interior, and of course Faith Haven. But I wanted to touch on St. John's West Bend Foundation because they've been a huge partner in all of this. It's been a journey, I would say, of the last 14 years where the foundation really has made a huge impact over the years. And what does the foundation do? Well, it supports the mission and vision of St. John's West Bend for today's and tomorrow's generations. And over the years, the foundation has supported many ministries from large to small, from AC in the school to a tractor out at Faith Haven. I'm sure there's a few things out at Faith Haven, to funds for recently funds for Camp Advention, which is going on this week. So over the last 14 years, there's been over $3 million in funds distributed via the West Bend Foundation. So I just want to give a little highlight there because they're going to be an integral part of this process. So let's go back to the beginning of what we were calling, back then was called the 30-year Master Campus Plan, but now we've just shortened it because it's more about ministry, and we're just donning it the 30-year Master Plan. Well, it's about 17 years old. Probably one of the first things that we discovered out of it were the challenges and opportunities we had back in 2011. Our school enrollment had dropped to 150 students, and we really had gotten to the point where we needed to decide, are we going to stay in Lutheran education or are we going to get out? Part of that also, and Cheryl's on the call as well, is our daycare in the church lower level was growing. It had grown to about 65 kids, and we really need to decide what are we going to do with it because we're running out of space over there. Do I have that right, Cheryl? We're running out of space over there. Some safety issues, right? Lower level issues. But at the same time, the West Bend community was showing really strong demand for quality daycare. And I can attest to that being part of our household, as our son Otto was 2011 would have been about 4, and we really wanted to get him into get him socialized so that he could get ready for school in the years ahead. Well, that led to what's known as the REACH campaign. And for those of you who were part of it, thank you. But at this time, the REACH campaign is really where we're at right now. It's this planning, looking at what our needs are. Well, that was in 2012 and 2013. And out of that, we built the Early Childhood Center, and that grew from 65 kids in 2012 to, by the end of year one, had grown all the way to 130 kids. We also did some updating to offices. At that time, the opportunity came up with the green house across the street. That property was purchased. We also did some updated the church gathering space, as well as renovating the stained glass in the church. There was a number of other smaller pieces out of the church that were upgraded, but those are the big ticket items that I could think of. So going back now, we're fast forwarding to 2019, and St. John's decided to enroll in Wisconsin School Choice. Well, we knew that the decision to build the Early Childhood Center, the ECC, would have a great impact on our enrollment. We just saw that at some point it would catch up. We would have full classes throughout, and a full class to us is 36 children. Well, in 2021, the ECC fulfilled that goal of getting 36 students into 5K in the school. And a large portion of that came through the ECC. And I'm just going to say somewhere about 80% came through the ECC. 2023, the leadership board conducted ministry meetings. We saw that with 36 students now coming and feeding the school each year, we were going to have some space problems. And we met with the congregation. We met with over 34 ministries, 300 people contacted. I think we had something like 800 lines of feedback. And from that, this journey we're on right now is I would say the result of the beginning of those ministry meetings. Well, 2025 rolls around and we've got new challenges at school. Enrollment has skyrocketed to 284 students for this coming 2025-26 school year. And space is lacking in the school, as you'll see here through this part of the tour. Something of noteworthy, we as the leadership board, along with the leadership at management, Mr. Van Dellen, is that we've decided that we're going to cap enrollment at 324. Now we're at 284, but in the coming years, we're seeing we're going to hit 324. Now, what is that? How do we get there? Why are we doing that? Well, we want to maintain a high quality Lutheran education. Teachers are very becoming harder and harder to find, as well as we just don't want to dilute too much of what we have for a good thing. As I mentioned, quality called workers are hard to find. Well, in this process, though, I just want to point this out. While there's buildings involved with what you're going to go through the tours, both in the school and the church, Faith Haven, 6th Avenue, it's about living out our mission and vision right here on our campus. Something worthy of note here is that 40% of the school enrollment is St. John's members. Now, if we go back to 2003, 4, 5, it was about 95%. Now that the 50% are coming from other West Bend churches, and 10% have no church home. So when I say we have a mission right here in our campus, that's it right there. We have the opportunity to serve our community with a quality Lutheran education, and we want to continue doing that. So with that, let's get into what we'll be talking and sharing with everybody today. So we'll start out with the school expansion, then we'll head on over to the potential development on 6th Avenue. That's the upper right corner there. And then we'll talk about renovation, new entry for the church. And then, much to Jane Hagee's delight, we'll talk about Faith Haven and what we've got going there. So, all right. So what you're going to see here, so this is how this is going to roll. So we're going to start, you can see a upper left corner or upper portion. We'll start at 1, and that's the office area. And then we're going to walk on down to what the bright number 2 is. That's the old library, and we'll see what we've done there, as well as items 3 and 4 have to do with the the kindergarten that we moved. So let's start out with what we're seeing in the office area. Because of the fact that we've had to really move a number of things around, we brought in, because Mr. Van Dellen needed help in school administration, we brought in Tim Schumacher, and Mr. Schumacher has come in, but he's taken up what used to be the health room. And let me share this video with you as we walk through this. So what you're going to see is you can see the main office. You can see is that what was the teacher workroom is now the health room. And I want you to just notice the fact that that bookshelf is now the wall. And so with that, we wanted to move let me pause that for a second. The other side of that wall is this. And so it'll pan around here in a second so you can see that they've had to divide that. This was really the teacher workroom area. And in that, the teachers have lost a place to really spend any time to work and have a workroom. A big challenge to that is the fact that there's little space for the teachers to have their break room or have a break to themselves. There's really no time nor space for them to make phone calls to parents if they should need to. There's also no place for the teachers to work in planning period. Uh-oh, did I just lose everybody? Are we still there? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me? Okay, great. For some reason, my screen over here just went a little blank, but we'll continue going. So there's little space for there's no place for teachers to work in a planning period. Because we're so tight on space, teachers have to stay in the room while, if there's another teacher that has come in to teach in that room, they have to work quietly in the corner while there's a class being taught there. And then lunch is another thing. Teachers really don't have, let me play this, I'll let this play out a little bit. The teachers really have no place to go. Oops, let me just jump to where we were. The teachers really have no place to go during lunch hour because, as you'll find out soon, the kids are in that room, in their rooms eating lunch because the cafeteria. So if you think for a moment, our gymnasium at one point had doubled as our cafeteria, but because of the fact that we have to utilize the gym all the time, every class is really in use for the gym. They have to eat in the room, which means they have to be in their classroom with their kids all the time. Cheryl, did you have something?
Nope, we're good.
Okay. All right. Well, as I mentioned, let's move on down to we're going to move on down to what was formerly the library. And so by show of hands, does anybody remember being in the library at all? I know that a few of you don't have your cameras on, but okay, Kathy does. Oh, yep, Jane's got her. Jane, did you want to ask a question? Oh, let me unmute you. Hang on. 1 second. Oh, where are we going here? Oh, I can't unmute. Why am I not unmuting here? Okay. Jane, can you try unmuting your phone there from your end? I can't for some reason. Let me try another thing here. Yeah, go ahead, Jane.
No, I was going to say, I remember the kids eating in their room previously too.
Yeah, it's been off and on. No, it's true. You're so true. I know my son, when it was back, he came at the point where they were 150. They were able to use the gym as a cafeteria. As you'll hear from Mr. Van Dellen in a video we have coming up, he points out that it's not best practice for kids to be eating in the room. It's a completely valid point. So anyway, let's continue on. Jane, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to just let this video run a little bit. You'll see this is what we took, what was about a 1,300 square foot, 1,400 square foot library and divided it into two. In a little while later, we've got another video with kids in the classroom, so you can get a perspective on that, just adults. But 700 is kind of tight. as you can see. It's even tighter when you get kids sitting in their desks. We'll get to a video in a little bit about what is the ideal space for kids in the classroom. But you get the idea here that it's a bit on the tight side. All right, so I believe it's going on 3 years. No, this is the first year of it. Excuse me, I'm getting my classrooms mixed up. Upper right corner, if anybody has ever been in the resource room, multi-use room for in the ECC, we took that, and you can see below the 3/4 is we divided that room up into 2 rooms, and as you'll see, it too is a tight fit and it's even smaller at 625 square feet for those kids. We'll show you the video here real brief here. The blue wall is the wall we added for the classroom to divide that. On the other side is the other half of what was the resource room for the ECC. And really that's the other big point too, is that to make a lot of this current state happen, we've had to borrow from the ECC. As you'll see, we've got another gathering space that's been put into duty to really make this all happen. So. And we'll head down to so I wanted to take a moment and show you what a ideal sized classroom would look like. So this is the first grade on the lower level. This is I'm sorry, I just had to think about that for a second. So this is the lower level first grade classroom, 18 kids. I should add and I don't think I brought this up before. What we're trying to achieve is 36 students per grade, and dividing that up into 2 18-student classrooms per grade. So you have K through 8, that's 9 grades, times 2 times 18 gives you 324. So that's the ideal situation we have. Moving on to the gym area. Right now in the gym lobby, and I have another video showing kids getting their lunches, but this is where the kids will get their lunches served and they'll take it back to their room. One other thing to point out, you can see behind the stairs, under the stairs, we have lunch tables that really aren't being used. And it's really become storage in as many places as possible. It's a bad joke. See, I got Jane to laugh. So now it's true though. It's become every square inch of this building is really in use for whether it's teaching or whether it's storage or whatnot. So it's certainly an area that has been put into good use. In the gym, gym built 1958, certainly has been renovated, added the floor about 5 years ago, updated the floor. But still, with the challenges we have within the school, we have the band and choir practice up on the stage during gym class. So again, not ideal because the music room just can't fit that many kids in it when they do a full band. And keeping in mind, 284 kids now coming up, we're filling up. One other thing to point out in the gymnasium, I'm going to pause the video here for a second, because we're having to, we're out of gym space, meaning gym class time. The state is saying to schools, for the health issues we've got, hey, let's have some more Phy-Ed time for these kids, and that poses a new problem. And then on top of it, so in the basketball season, we are now up to 12 teams And so we have to rent space from Cabrini and Calvary to achieve the practice time needed. Also, our student body is so large that for the current gym, we can't do all school assemblies. And then, of course, when we have when we have inclement weather, a lot of times we don't have the gym space because it's being used even during lunches. So kids are stay stuck in their classrooms. And of course, the storage is still an issue. And I'll show you that in the back area. We have a storage space issue back there as well. So this is in that back corner. One of the bathrooms was converted into a storage space there. We did have to get rid of the glass back there from safety reasons, security reasons. So that no longer is an in and out. And you can see that the area is just, it's every bit of it is being utilized. Moving on to what I'll call the transition area. So number 6 on the map there, really intended for a gathering area, a tutor reading, but it's been kind of, I'll call it a multi-use space. Again, we're trying to utilize every space we can within these areas. So this is actually a makeshift classroom. You can see the desks there behind me as I'm talking. There's a whiteboard, as well as in the corner to my left, as we're facing it straight on, as a tutor room. But that's also being utilized. We do have Wisconsin Title Services that does come in and help students out with a reading, with speech, and then we also have some counseling. That is a important thing to note, that with the challenges that kids have nowadays, we do contract with Christian Services to come in and help those who do need some counseling. So we like to try to use these spaces, but these spaces are also being utilized as you'll see, Mrs. Riley in the room here, again, a space that's being utilized for a whole slew of things. And then as we head out on the video, you'll see that we're utilizing we'll call it the art storage or a storage room, but it's used for art, but we also utilize it for tutoring, counseling, really just about any time we can use it, we do.
These are 8th graders here for science class. How many of you are there? 28? 26. 26 of you. 25 today. Down at this end of the building is what used to be the library, which 3 years ago, I believe it was, we moved over to the church basement and created 2 classrooms in this space. So that is one 3rd grade class. Straight ahead is one of our kindergarten classrooms.
Take your table. So just sit down with your blue folder. Put that book in your blue folder.
We're limiting kindergarten classes to 18 at this point, 36 total in kindergarten. Our 2 1st grade classrooms across the hall from each other. Mrs. Putz's room.
Hi.
Hi.
It's Disney Day. We're going to Disney World, and we're designing a brand new castle.
Awesome.
Can I see your painting again?
And then Mrs. Princeton across the hallway. The other 1st grade classroom.
Ooh, well, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin is my favorite ride.
Okay, that's the next slide.
Are these my choices?
Yeah. What?
Because we don't have enough gym time, we have to serve lunch in the hallway, and students have to eat in their classrooms. at the same time gym classes are going on. This looks like 7th grade. We currently have 24 students in 7th grade. So last summer, in our search for space, we ended up building a wall to split our early childhood center resource room into 2 spaces and moved one of the kindergartners or kindergarten classes over here. So this is where Mrs. Milan teaches now. Unfortunately, she's separated from the rest of the school because of having to be in the early childhood center. And then next year, we will have a middle school class that will need to meet in the other half of what is the resource center. So next year we'll have up to 26 students meeting in here most of the day. So that is every room in the school utilized virtually every hour of the day. And then the need to take space in our early childhood center right now as well.
I can't hear you. If you're in first or kindergarten are getting milk only. Oh. Come on, Asher. Like the wing bullseye, okay? Fantastic.
I think so.
Hi. Take a pause here. Fantastic. Okay. Great. Okay, wait a second there, sir.
Don't fall, buddy. So students eat lunch in classrooms.
Put you guys to work. Ways as a sue for help.
Hello. And it works fairly well in this kindergarten, but when we look at that other kindergarten class having to go all the way back over to the ECC, that's a challenge. Obviously, the cleanup every day is a challenge. And it's really not best practice to have these kids separated from each other all day. And our teachers are just stuck all day in that classroom without a break as well. So I'd really love to get us to the point where we have a cafeteria and students can interact and teachers can actually see another adult during their school day.
For those who weren't familiar with it, we own those 4 lots. Currently, the one on the left is rented to one of our teachers. Obviously, the left second one in from the left is church office, and then that vacant lot, nothing on it. And then currently the corner lot sits vacant. Our tenant there left probably about a year and a half ago. We have a challenge ahead of us. After trying to understand what the city was going to let us do with that, we now have clarity on that. It's got a lot of updating it needs done. Heating, HVAC. There's some things in the basement that need to be addressed. So there's a lot of dollars that need to go into it. Now that we've got some clarity, I think there's just the need to develop a plan over there. So we've kicked around many ideas, but we're not set on anything yet. But as this being a 30-year master plan, it's while it's important, it's not urgent, I guess what we're trying to tell you at this point. But let's watch some video here just so you can see it if you've not seen it, and then we'll then roll into looking over at the 6th Avenue properties, and then we'll talk about the exterior of the church. And I spared you from having to hear me talk about that, but again, that corner, the brown building on the corner lot, is the one that has got some work to be done to it. Obviously, the green, the old green building house with the garage in back is the church office, and then the one on the left is currently being rented to one of our teachers. So moving on over here to the parking lot. So we're told that there's not a lot left of that parking lot in terms of just flat out repair, and that we're at a point where we need to tear it out and repave completely from the ground up. So that's not an inexpensive endeavor, as well as we dive into things like wants versus needs. The canopy is really one of those that we're amazed that is still standing, just based on the fact that nobody's hit. Now, there's been some light damage, but nobody's hit it hard to the point where it's needed to come down. We're looking at some opportunity to improve the stairs, improve the wheelchair accessibility by making it much more. Coming this, and here's my pitch for this weekend. We have our voters meeting. We'll have the opportunity to share what we have envisioned for that revised canopy. Much larger, much more welcoming, and a lot more space for people to get in and out of cars under a proper canopy there. Moving on to the church now. So on the lower level, and I don't have any pictures, but I'll just point out what we're looking at doing in the main level. One, I mentioned over here on the left. Can you all see my, Cheryl, can you see my pointer, or is that not showing up? It is? Okay, yeah. So upper left corner here is what I was just discussing, that the red rectangle area is the much larger canopy that we were discussing. And then areas 3 and 4 would be for the nursery, doing some light renovation there, as well as the gathering space in number 4. And I'll just point out number 7, we're looking at taking that green space, because if we take out a bunch of parking with the canopy, we'd be needing a bit more parking. So area 7, where there's some green space there now, that would be some parking, considered putting parking in there. And then number 5 is the sanctuary. If you're not aware of it, the lights, and I share this picture because this is the lights are a challenge right now, because it's not so much the fixtures themselves, it's the fact that we can't get bulbs. Janet did a fantastic job of checking every eBay, every site she could to try to find what she could for bulbs. But at some point, we've got to replace those with LED or something else that has a bulb that's not going to go out of style here in the next, say, 20 years. So that's the one big piece in the church itself. Moving on up to the upper level. So as previously mentioned, we have the pastors and a few others over in the green building there. The church offices in the house across the street. We're considering maybe taking this upper level. Now, this is the current state as you see it. If anybody's been up there, you've got in the conference business office, that's Dave Rohr and Lori Yogerst are up here. A few other offices, Doug and Rachel Morton are up here. So right now it's very much, people are all over. I can attest to the fact that a really good thing to have people in a single space collaboratively together. So that's the one thing we're considering is taking this area, renovating it, either renovating what we have, or do we add on, perhaps we've looked at adding on some space out here, maybe a 2-story space to be able to have everyone in that space, including adding to the basement as well. And moving on to the, oh, I got one video to show here. So if you've not been upstairs, this is the area that we have right outside that conference room area. This is actually, I think, where the choir practices. So you can see it's really utilized as a, there's a small conference room at 309 there in the back. And then to the right behind Lisa and I'll pause that when I get there. So to the right, if you've not been up there, right behind, oop, it's too quick for me. Right behind Peggy and Lisa, there's a, that's where Lori and Dave have their offices. So moving down to the lower level. So with the perhaps expansion of the school, we would bring back the library. So number 3 here would open up for space. 2 and 6 are some areas that we might have the potential for opening up for conference space, practice space for the bands or for the praise band. That's already been in use, but perhaps some renovation to that. The number 1 here, left side, right side, and then the bathroom that's utilized near the kitchen are all not ADA and are in need of some serious help there. So, and then of course in the fellowship hall itself, we're looking at trying to make that a more conducive education space. So updating some of the audio visual in there, adding some more screens so that as we're spread out, you can stay in tune with what's being presented on the main screen. And then perhaps doing something with the floors. The only tricky part there is that those are circa 1955, and those are going to be some asbestos related issues that we have mitigation that have to go on to take that out of there. So kind of a wish list of things we've got for the lower level, but still relevant things to that. Let's see. I'll play this very briefly. And I think I said the kitchen. If I didn't say the kitchen was one consideration that we were looking at updating where we need to. I know it's not used as much as it once was, but just getting things back to some, I know that the team tells us there's some things that need to be updated in terms of electricity, stoves not working, ovens perhaps having issues. I know the men's room, as this pans over to the left, the one that is right by the exit door there, has no hot water. So just some more consideration in bringing that lower level up to snuff there. Anybody have any questions they want to pose there? What time are we doing on time here? I'm doing all right. If nothing, let me just, I was keeping Jane waiting there, right? Faith Haven. Oh, hold on, Jane, you're on mute. Let's see if we can get you unmuted here. No, I can't unmute. Hang on, let me see if I can unmute everybody here. Nope. Jane, try unmuting if you can your phone there. For some reason, I can't get it unmuted. Jane, can you get it unmuted? You're still muted. Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
Okay.
Have at it.
I apologize. Yeah, I had to get to another charging cord in my car. Just going back to the school, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've got, a lot of West Bend wants their children in St. John's or Cabrini or Good Shepherd, Grafton, we're all growing, but the public schools are closing. Fair Park and Decorah Elementary and UWWC. Now, I've heard that the Catholic Archdiocese may be establishing a high school or something at UWWC, but has anybody looked at any of those campuses for upper grades or
I can tell you this, that yes, we have the Washington County, the maintenance costs on that are just through the roof. That I know John Steger had looked into that, and it's it's not ideal. We have looked into other buildings, and we really would like to keep things on our campus. And so, but I appreciate the question though, Jane. It's something we have considered, but one in which we want to keep people on our campus. So let's talk about Faith Haven before I forget one more time. So if you've not been out to Faith Haven, we've got so the let me get my directions right here. This is the south entrance versus the north entrance. The north entrance has a garage to it, and then that gets us that most of the time people can access the three crosses area there, or they could park up on top. But currently, now this shows these three potential. This is the only time I'll show you the potential, because we can't be out there to talk about it. But these are the potentially, if we were to pave something and put something there, or maybe we just do more gravel and do a better job of it. That's what the bluish areas would be here in 1 and 4. At the bottom of the hill is the I guess, lack of a better term, would be the altar that's down there for projecting upwards. And then 3 is what we were considering. If you look over here to the right is 5. Now this is just supposed to be a blow up of what that would look like where 3 is at. So we would put that at the top of the hill. There would be about roughly for outdoor seating about 700 square feet, about 280 square feet for food, service. Think of a shelter. I'll show you an example in a second here. And then 2 restrooms and a 450 square foot classroom enclosed and kept heated year round if needed. And so this is I think may have shared something similar in the past, but this is a little bit about of what growth has done in the past. You can see the open air seating to as closest to us. Now this one doesn't have the enclosed classroom to it, but that other end would have that along with the bathrooms in between the enclosed area and the food area. So that's what we're envisioning for Faith Haven. So any questions on Faith Haven?
Okay, now where are you thinking about putting that?
Sure.
In that 5 spot or?
No.
No.
3 is so if you can think, so you know where the porta potty is now?
Yeah, in the back of the
up
that
in
natural amphitheater. Yeah.
Yep. Up at the top of the hill.
There's some parking there.
Yeah. Yep. That's what we had in mind.
Okay.
All right.
Just a thought. We've got outdoor school. Germany, Switzerland, many parts of the United States, and those kids outperform their peers. They are outside for school, all subjects, every day, no matter the weather. And they're at the same latitude we are. And I know some of the teachers have used it that way too. Not every day, but
yeah. I know Faith Haven. I know Living Word has their kids out there frequently as well. So.
Yeah. Abby Johnson did, but I'm reading more and more for adults too. We need the sunshine.
Right. And it's truly a great piece of property that we have out there. It's a blessing to not only are those who are part of our congregation, but also those in the area and those who come out there to take a look and enjoy it out there. So we want to perhaps do something a bit more. Well, thank you for participating in our ministry readiness tour. We really appreciate you joining us. Please take the time to fill out the survey. Your feedback is super important. That'll be up until June 25th. You'll see the link in the description if you're watching on the YouTube video. Well, you can also find it in the e-letter or on the St. John's app. Again, thank you for helping us discern what God's will is for St. John's.